Hi everybody, hope you're well. This video is requested by Cedere. In this video, I'm going to be talking about how to leave a team. This is going to cover both VIP teams and it's also going to cover just regular breeding groups or little sort of collections or collaborations you might have with other players. So, one of the first things that I was asked was, how do you do it politely? I think if you're going to leave a team, I think to be polite about it, I think that you want to message the team and explain why you're leaving. Now, you don't have to give any personal information, and I always think it's better not to give personal information, I mean, for your own safety. But I think you can be honest. Maybe you have exams, so you could simply say that you just have exams and maybe you want to focus on real life, or maybe you're not well, or maybe perhaps it's just a case that maybe the team hasn't been the right one for you. Maybe you found it too competitive, maybe it hasn't been competitive enough for you. But be nice about it. I don't think that you have to sort of cause any unnecessary friction. I think it's just about being polite about it, so don't say anything that maybe will spark a bad reaction. I mean, think about it. If you got the same PM, would you be okay with it? I think is one of the things to remember, and also that not everybody reads messages in the same way. Also be aware of language barriers too, because sometimes you'll work with people who aren't, their first language isn't your language, and sometimes you have to be considerate of that too. So I think first off, be honest. If you want to do it politely, be honest, because there's no point in saying lies. There just isn't, because lies generally will be found out one way or another. So I think it's better to be honest. The next part is, when you're leaving a team, do you send a PM or do you just leave? I think there's a couple of things you need to consider. I think if you want to continue along being polite about it, then it's better to inform the team, as I mentioned earlier, for your reasons why, or that maybe you've just decided that you're leaving. I would also give them time to respond as well, whether that's a day or two or maybe a week or whatever, depending on how active they are, because I know some people work with people who aren't maybe as active, and I know that if I was to receive a PM or if I'm sending a PM out, I like to give people a little bit of time to respond to why I'm leaving the team, or why, or if I'm getting a message from somebody and they're saying why they're leaving, I like to just send them a message back and, thank them for the time that they've spent and all that, because I do appreciate that, and I think other people do too, so I think it's nice to give them that time to answer you. Also consider who needs to get the PM, because it doesn't necessarily have to go to everybody, because I know that there are some teams out there where everybody knows each other really well, and I think some people can be quite sad if they don't get a message. So I think you have to it depends on your relationship with your team too, because obviously if you don't know half the people in it, you're not maybe going to send the message to every single one of them. You might just send it to the team leader. I would usually say that you're better always sending it at least to the team leader, because at least they can then inform their teammates that this person has left for whatever reason. Obviously, if there's anything you're happy to share with the team leader, but you don't necessarily want it sent to the rest of the team, make that clear. So, but as I said earlier, don't give out anything too personal. So going on to whether you should just leave a message or leave, it depends on your relationship with the team, I think. But if you are just going to leave, I think there is a potential with some teams, and some people will have noticed this, is sometimes that can be seen in a very negative way if somebody just leaves and there's no reason given. People can sometimes panic, so I think it's better to inform them, give them time to respond, and if there's anything that you need to sort out, then it's a good time to let them have that time to do that, because sometimes some teams might want, if say for example you decided you were quitting Howrse and you had the top blob from your team, you'd want to make sure that you messaged them, left them enough time to collect the top blob, and then left, rather than to leave and then delete the top blob, because they're not going to really appreciate that. So I think there's some things you need to think about. Also, and this would probably be more applicable to teams that have rules around sales, is obviously if you're just leaving the team but you have a lot of horses from that particular team, maybe that team has rules around the sales and stuff, I think you need to discuss with the team leader, what happens with those horses. I think it's just, me personally, if I leave a team, I like to talk to the team leader and say, right, what are you happy with me selling and what are you not? Because I just like to, I find that respectful, because if I had somebody leaving my team, I'd appreciate that too. So it's about you as a person. Like as I've said before, people, if you have a horse on your account, it belongs to you, and it doesn't really. That's horses standpoint on it. But if I have worked with a team collaboratively to further those lines, then I like to make sure that that team is happy with me selling certain GPs or certain horses. So I like to keep that as a good relationship. So it depends on what your relationship with your team as well. And just really, whatever you're leaving a team is also make sure you're following all general private message rules too. That's really it, because obviously if you've had a really bad experience with your team, it can be very, very difficult, because I know I've seen people who have had a really, really bad experience with a team and they're really hateful towards them, and they really want to get it all off their chest, and they don't necessarily want to be polite. But obviously if you're rude over PM to a team, or if they're rude over to you, then there's that likelihood of being reported or them being reported and so forth. So I think for your own general well-being at times, I think it's just better to be polite about it, even if it maybe is through gritted teeth sometimes. But that's just my thoughts on it. As I said, this can be open to interpretation, your own style, your own relationship with your teammates and so forth. And I just think that there's some ways that it's better to go about it, because it's easier in the long run. I mean, for example, if you're in a training team and you've decided that you're ready now to go and progress to a new team, then obviously you just want to say thank you to the people that maybe have trained you or whatever, and go on your way. And maybe there's not as much many concerns in regards to team horses and so forth. But have a look, if your team has rules. Some teams have rules around what happens when a teammate leaves. So go and have a look at those and read those and check. I mean, obviously most teams, if you're joining a team with rules, you want to make sure that you obviously read those rules before you join the team or during being in the team, and make sure you're agreeable to them. So I think that's kind of it, guys. If there's anything else anybody wants to ask on it, that's absolutely fine. As I said, some of this is just my own opinion. It's open to interpretation in whatever way you feel comfortable dealing with leaving a team. But anyway, guys, I hope you love it. Bye, guys. And thank you to cedere for requesting the video.